and welcome to February's The Lit Gals. We are so excited to be here today. And if you didn't catch us just a couple weeks ago for World Read Aloud Day, we did our first ever special episode. So that was a first, and it was so fun talking about read alouds and the importance of them and books we love to read aloud. And Anna shared just some precious kind of oldies. And so yeah, great show. Go back and find it on our YouTube channel. But we are happy to be with you today here in February. I am Marty Hoofer, Digital Content Manager for Keep Indiana Learning. So Morgan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Morgan Mason. I am one of the professional learning specialists with Keep Indiana Learning, and I live in the literacy world, mainly early literacy these days.
And I'm Anna Cook. I am a literacy professional consultant, just spreading joy and cheer all over Indiana, Illinois. Yes, and just love literacy.
So speaking of love, that is our show topic for this month. And so before we get into the books that we want to share, where we all took maybe a slightly different interpretation on books we love, I want to talk specifically just with that like really specific frame. What do you think, and we have not talked about this in advance, so I have no idea where this conversation is going to go.
Nor do we.
What do you think causes some books, whether they're picture books or novels, I mean, anything in between, to bubble up to that level of, I just love this book? Like when someone says, what should I read? That's the one that you're like, this is a surefire recommendation because you loved it so much. What causes books to bubble to that level?
Thoughts? Man. I have some thoughts about this.
Okay.
So for me, if a book bubbles up to that, I loved this book so much. It's the books that I can't stop thinking about. Like I am constantly trying to find, even if it's just minutes in my day, that I can throw my AirPods in and listen to a couple more sentences or grab it and read a couple more pages. Like there are some books that do that for me. And it's rare, I feel like, that I'm so captivated by a book that I'm like, even if it's just 20 seconds, I got to get a few more words in. And I very rarely give out 5-star ratings on Goodreads.
Okay.
So usually if it falls in that category of I could not stop thinking about it and could not put it down, I'm going to give it 5 stars.
So you rate on Goodreads. You do rating.
I don't do I don't type out a summary or a rating. Like I have some friends that do, and I love reading them, but I just rate it with the stars to keep track. And so it's rare that I give out those five stars. Normally it's around 3-4, but that's one thing. And I also, which I feel like we do this so well for each other, having gotten to know each other, is I know what my friends like. I know what you two like to read. And so if it's a book that I'm like, oh, I know Marty would love this. I mean, we all do that. Right. That also, I feel like is a category almost of its own of, okay, maybe I only gave it 4 stars, but I know you and I know you love this book.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great point. That's like a whole nother show topic there. That idea of a community of readers. And isn't that interesting that once you find out someone is a reader, there's like that instant connection that I may not remember your name, but I remember you're a reader and we can talk about books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to piggyback on what you just said, Morgan, for me, if you or Marty suggests a book and I read it and I love it, then the next time you guys suggest a book, I'll just automatically say, I got to get it.
Right.
Because like you just said, Morgan, I kind of know them. And so if they suggest a book, then I'll definitely, and believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, it'll go up to my, I love this book. It's fabulous. Now, on the flip side, I do have friends that I don't really care very much for what they read. And so on the flip side, sometimes when they say, oh, you've got to read this book, I'll sit there and go, maybe not.
It will go to the bottom of my very large.
Say that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, Anna, that happened in my book club. And I want to mention something you said too, Morgan, but something you said, Anna, it happened in our book club. We pick our books quite a bit of time in advance. And it's a very interesting process that's not worth going into. But this person recommended this book. And so all of us were like, okay, we know nothing about Lisbon in the 1500s and Jewish culture. But this person who was recommending it had two very different friends recommend the book to her. So she's like, if these two very different people are recommending it to me, it must be really good. Mm-hmm. So we read it in book club and we're like, we had multiple people not finish, which is rare in my book club. And wow, we were like, there were no 5 stars. And so it was interesting because, Anna, I agree with you that if people tell us they like a book, typically that, I don't know, adds some weight. Like, oh, I trust you. But wow, it really fell flat. But Morgan, to something you said, that wanting one more second, I think that's what it is for me. That's what causes me to love a book when I literally cannot stop reading this book, that I just have to. I don't want to say the first book, but a book I clearly remember it happening to me with was Sharon Draper, who we did the show with a couple months ago. Her book, Copper Sun. It's a historical fiction novel about a young girl. And it's a YA, maybe high middle grade book. And I will never forget sitting at a stoplight. And I'm like, yes, I got a red light. I picked up my book and read a few sentences because I could not. And I was like sad that I got a green light. They're like, dang it, I have to drive my car again.
I have to go back to my life.
Yeah. So I think those are all, those are things we love. Anna, this is probably not a fair question to ask you, so maybe I shouldn't and only ask Morgan. But do authors automatically, if you find an author you love, do their books automatically become loves? So maybe I should ask Anna.
Oh, for me, yes.
Okay.
Anna's thinking of one person in particular.
I know. That's why I thought I shouldn't ask her.
Okay, I'll talk about that one in just a little while. But no, yes. For me, yes.
Okay.
Because 9 times out of 10, it'll be great. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, at least.
I'm
saying no.
I'm saying no. There's a couple authors. Now there's one in particular, like Karen Slaughter I've loved I think I've given every single book of hers that I've read a 5-star. Okay. She is fabulous. She is one, but there's a couple other authors that I've really enjoyed some of their books and others just totally fall flat for me.
Okay.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay,
So,
let me ask you real quickly, Morgan, because I know that you love mysteries. Are these mystery writers that you're like, oh, could be yes, it could be no?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't want to name drop any authors.
No,
they're all doing out here doing the good work for us.
Yeah.
But
they're mystery writers
that I've read a lot of her books, and some of her twists and turns, I'm like, oh, I never saw it coming. And then I've read a couple that I'm like, gosh, I knew that was going to happen from the beginning. Or like, I just didn't like the way it was written.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. I'm glad that question popped in my head because,
Thanks, Marty. Thanks for putting us on the spot. It was pretty good.
I know. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Makes us think.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
doesn't
right.
really give us time to think about our answers too much.
That's right.
So welcome to the Lit Gal / an improv show, where you just never know what you're going to get in these 25 minutes. Very good. Yeah. Well, Anna, why don't you get us going on our topic for this month, which is books we love. And we did not really talk about the actual theme. We just let ourselves do what we wanted to with the theme, which the exact words were love in every chapter, books that warm the heart. So that was our title that we all individually ran with, and we have not talked about these. So I'm excited to see where these go.
Yeah.
So when Alexandra was a little girl, we used to play the game, I Love You. So I love you as deep as the deepest ocean. I love you as big as the biggest ship, etc. And I found this book some time ago. And the boys call me Oma, which is German for grandma. And I've got this book, Oma Loves You More Than All the Snowflakes in the Sky. And I just love, love, love this book. Let me just read to you if you don't mind. Kind of goes along that same, theme. I love you more than all the snowflakes that are flying so high. Oma loves you more than all the marshmallows in the hot cocoa mug.
Aww.
Oh, that's so cute. I love the winter theme too.
Yeah. I do too.
So when I found this, it just warmed my heart. And I've got to tell you something, guys, something. I read it to my 5-year-old grandson, and he, at the very end, he said, "This is almost going to make me cry." Isn't that something? Yeah, it really touched him.
Aww.
So anyway, so that one came to my mind immediately.
Yes.
And then I started thinking, well, let me go back. So then I went to the books sale that the public library had, and I picked up this book by Elizabeth Lowell. And it got me to thinking, oh my gosh, I used to read Elizabeth Lowell all the time. And, I just stopped for one reason or another. And this book was on sale. And so I picked this up. And so it got me thinking about authors that I loved in times past.
Yeah.
And for one reason or another, you just forget. And then something comes up and you're like, oh my goodness, I used to read them. And then you start back again.
Yeah.
So I kind of I really was excited about that find. And it brought me back to some of her other books that I used, that I had read a long time ago, as a matter of fact. And then I thought about books that, were about love and everything. I'm going to...
Who might that author be, Anna? Could you tell us this author's name that I'm sure you have never said on this show? I'm sure her name has never been said.
Guys, come on. Okay, so she has the best trilogies. And in the summertime, she's got some good trilogies in the summer, and then she's got good trilogies in the wintertime.
Oh.
I watched The Perfect Couple again on Netflix because I just really love it. So anyway, so there's all reasons for love here.
There you go.
Love because it truly warmed the heart. Loved because no matter what she writes, I will get it. And then picked up another author that I used to see. I used to read, and so anyway. So that's mine. Quite eclectic.
Yes.
I love it.
All on the spectrum, right?
And I love that it's all over the place. And I love that the two I'm about to talk about are totally different.
Oh, good.
So the first one is In My Heart by Mackenzie Porter. And I have to tell you guys, I just have to read the back of it. Though we're not together, we're never truly apart because you're always on my mind and you're always in my heart. So one of my best friends gave this to me right before I went back to work for the first time after having my first. So it's just about a working mom that has to go to work every day and talking to her child about it. And when I tell you I sobbed.
Mm-hmm.
Ugly cried. Wells is a
I'm
little
ready to
baby.
start.
He's like soaking wet from my tears. It meant so much to me, this book,
Oh.
in that really difficult
Mhm.
transition.
Yeah.
So this book it's one of my favorites.
Oh.
The other
Well, and Morgan, also, I'm going to interrupt there. Also, I mean, it's a great topic about you loving your kiddo, but also then the love your friend had for you. That idea of being seen and like, I know where you are. Man, that's just another layer to a lovely or a love story. So yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, she wrote me a little note in there too. So yeah, I could get emotional if I keep talking about it too. So.
Okay.
But the other one is, I think my mom got me this when I was actually a classroom teacher. It is called Super Satya Saves the Day.
Oh,
I've
never heard of this one.
I'm not even going to attempt to tell you what the author's name is, but it'll be in the show notes. She might have seen it. I don't know. She sees things on like Oprah's favorite things list and QVC, all the like random places. Either way, she found this book and bought it for me. And I chose this one because it's a love story to yourself. This little girl, she has this cape that she wears and she thinks that it makes her super awesome. It makes her have these superpowers that make her this amazing human. Well, her cape has to go to the laundromat to get cleaned and she doesn't have it for the day. And she freaks out because she's like, I'm not going to be able to do anything because I don't have my cape. And she realizes throughout the day that she's still an amazing person. She's helping her friends. She helps someone that loses their dog. She continues to do all these things. And then by the end, she's like, maybe I don't need the cape. Maybe it's inside me. Maybe this is who I am. So I just chose that because we've been reading it recently. I've been reading it to Wells before bedtime because it's a love story. Like, love yourself, man. Love your abilities and love the things that you bring to the table. So those were kind of my two different interpretations of love.
Wonderful.
Oh, I love that. I'll be looking at the show notes to go purchase that picture book.
I will too.
Super cute.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay, so I took a slightly different spin on this idea of love. I mean, I was thinking original, like both of my books I'm going to talk about are YA love stories. So I mean, there's truly that. But then there's another kind of underlying theme to them. I think I'll talk about the one I liked best first. A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Ooh. And it's a Reese, over there, speaking of award winner, it's a Reese YA pick, which I tend to like the Reese YA picks a lot. But this one is Leah, or Lila, maybe is how you pronounce her name. She unplanned ends up spending a summer in England, and she doesn't want to do this, and she's rather grumpy about it. And but her family thinks this is what's best for her, and she moves to England. And then she meets a boy. She meets a boy. We'll just leave it at she meets a boy. However, the Cuban part is a critical part of this story. It is such a love letter to her Cuban culture, which is in such stark contrast to the English culture that she suddenly finds herself in that she doesn't want to be in. When I finished this book, the first thing I said to my husband was, I need to go find a Cuban bakery. That is all there is to it. I need to try some Cuban pastries because she ends up baking a lot in this book. And if I'm not mistaken, there may even be some recipes in the back. But it's just, yes, it's a fun YA romance, which I do enjoy. But the love letter to her culture is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So then along those same lines, When You Wish Upon a Lantern by Gloria Chao, also a YA romance. And the main character, whose name is very similar to the other main character's name, Liza, she is best friends with this dude who lives down the street. but her parents own a store where they sell these Japanese lanterns, and they fall on hard times. And it becomes very important to her to this piece of her culture, not to lose it. And the boys along for the ride, as you know, high school boys are. When something's important to a girl, it's suddenly important to the boy. But it becomes, while in this book, I feel like the romance is probably a little heavier. The culture is just a nice add. In this one, I feel like the culture is where the love letter is, and the importance of family. And it is just, it caught me by surprise how much I enjoyed this book. So mine ended up being, there's the fun YA romance, but they're beautiful love letters to two very different cultures, which I enjoyed. And we've talked about that before. The beauty of reading is getting to experience different cultures.
Yeah. Different worlds.
Yeah.
Nice.
All over the place.
We were.
Yes.
Love that.
And once again, interpretation as well.
Yeah.
And you know, different interpretations of love.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I love it. Love it. Well, so here we are to my favorite spot in the show where my to be read list always grows, because I always join this part of the show with a pen in my hand, and I have my notepad right here. So Anna, what you currently reading?
Well, I read Looking for Alaska.
I love that book.
It's on my list.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Marty, you've got to read it.
No.
In fact, I thought, I bet Marty's read this before.
I've read lots of other John Green stuff. I've never read that one.
It's probably my favorite John Green book.
Really?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, it won the Prince, the Michael L. Prince Award for excellence in young adult literacy. And my book club is reading this, read this one. And oh my gosh, Looking for Alaska, it really, it was so good. And I sat there and thought to myself, because it does have quite the twist in the middle or 3/4 of the way into it. And I really had a hard time of what grade. But I would highly suggest definitely a junior or senior in high school, right before they go off to college, and even a college freshman.
Okay.
So,
That's actually when I read it for the first time, was when I was in high school.
Oh, was it? Did it make an impact on you, Morgan?
The fact that I still, because there's a lot of books that I've read that I probably don't remember. I still remember that book very, very well. I probably reread it once maybe, but I'm not one to go back to books often. But I still remember what happens in that story.
Okay. That speaks volumes about this book. And I would definitely, because we even had a discussion about that, Morgan, with my book club of, would they even, and I thought kids would, in a junior or a senior. Yes. But I thought it would make a big impact.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, that's what I read. And Marty, you've got to follow me now.
I will.
And
I will.
You need to read this book.
Okay. I will move it up my list.
I may even have a copy that I can bring you, Marty. I'll check my book.
Thanks.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of John Green, he has a new book coming out March, maybe. Nonfiction. His last one was nonfiction. And this one is nonfiction. It's all Everything is Tuberculosis, maybe is the title. And he has spent years researching this and ties everything back to tuberculosis. I don't know. Telling y'all I know. I love John Green.
I heard that he was doing nonfiction now, and that is his love, is doing research.
Yep. I would believe it.
And Morgan, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Looking for Alaska, the setting is a private school, etc. And he went to a private school.
Oh, interesting.
And he lives here in Indiana now. But he, but I think he grew up also in Alabama or, So just an FYI.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Morgan, what are you reading and or listening to?
Both right now. So I'm actually reading. It's just making its way around the lit gals. This Tender Land. Marty had it, and then Anna had it, and Anna just gave it to me last week. So I'm reading that. I'm not very far into it yet, but so far I'm enjoying it. And then the other one that I'm listening to is Hidden Pictures. Let's see if you can see it.
Oh, that's not the book I was thinking of. I was thinking Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures, that's what I was thinking of too, Marty.
Yeah, this is a mystery by Jason Rekulak. It's almost like, at least so far, I'm about halfway through it. It's almost like a ghost story, or at least that's the vibe that I'm getting right now. I don't know where it's going to go. So it's been good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So I'll report back. So I have two going on, but they're very different.
Very different.
Again, they have to be different if I'm going to be doing both.
Same. Well, okay.
Kudos to you for trying to do both. I don't think I could do that.
Truthfully, right now at this moment, I'm not reading anything because I finished a book last night and I haven't started a book yet. I mean,
It's been less than 24 hours, Marty.
Are you okay?
Give yourself
I mean, I know what I'm going to read next.
Okay.
Yes, I know what I'm reading next. The one I just finished though, is called 24 Seconds from Now. It's a YA book by Jason Reynolds. And if you've never read Jason Reynolds, he's a phenomenal YA writer. Some of his that I love probably aren't his most popular ones, but he's just great. He's an author that I'll read anything he writes. And this story, the last line, maybe will be my favorite last line of a book ever. The last line of the book is, "Black boys deserve love stories too." And I just love that because if you think about it, it's probably not a whole lot of love stories with black boys as the main character. Yeah. So the main character is Neon. He's a high school senior. And you meet a small group of his friends, and it's a great story, and it's told in a way that only Jason Reynolds tells stories, which is, if Long Way Down is a book of his. He tells the story as this elevator is going down to the first floor. And when the doors open, you find out if the main character commits murder or not.
Oh, wow.
And so the story unfolds as.
Oh, my God. That's interesting.
So Jason, this story, 24 Seconds from Now, is kind of, as I'm reading, I'm like, I feel like I'm reading Long Way Down. It's just, I'm not in an elevator. Time is going backwards. So Jason Reynolds, I loved it. And I just love that last line because we all deserve love stories.
Absolutely.
We all deserve them. So there we go. Thank you. What a great show, ladies. Loved it.
Yeah.
All right. So as always, be well.
Do good work.
Keep in touch.